Welcome to the Barking for Balance podcast. I am your host, Jordan Kern, back for another exciting episode where we're going to take two dots, the people and the dogs, and we're going to connect them seamlessly. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be marvelous. So if you're not seated right now, I highly recommend pulling up a nice big chair, parking your rear end, and buckling up for the next hour of fun, fantastic film. And now I'm going to hand it off to my co-host, Pat Budida. Pat.
Well, guys, this is Barking for Balance. It's still Barking for Balance, and I am still Pat the Packman, and it's not Budida, it's Batida. Just FYI, God damn it. He's got a hard head, this guy.
Butida, Butida.
You have heard me mention him on numerous other podcast episodes. Jordan, welcome to Barking for Balance finally. How's it going? And by the way, I am not the co-host. I am the host, period. So don't start taking my shit away here. Barking for Balance, people. The podcast where we talk about dogs and we talk about anything else that is meant to teach, inspire, and entertain.
That is exactly correct. Host, co-host, all this jibble jabble. We're here. And we're excited.
That's right. Jordan, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color probably would be number one, pink, hands down. I love pink so much. Pink is just an amazing color. It's something that catches your eye. You're driving down the road, you see something pink, boom, there go your eyes. Followed by number two, I would say would probably be baby blue. I love the baby blue, the Carolina blue. I love the garb, and I just like the way that it catches light from the sun and reverberates it right off my body. Those two colors do the same exact thing. I'm electric, and I like to stay that way.
Jordan, guys, you better sit down because it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we kick this thing off, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about fear, guys. Fear about all sorts of stuff. And we're going to talk about fear about dogs, fear about all sorts of stuff, right, Jordan?
There's a lot of things. That's exactly right.
There you go.
The kind of fear you established when you were a kid, a middle-aged fear, a preteen fear, all different kinds of fears, but pretty much, fear from the top to the bottom.
We're also going to talk about who needs who more. What the hell am I talking about? I'm talking about who needs more. Who needs who more? Do dogs need humans more, or do humans need dogs more? We're going to discuss that over here on Barking for Balance. But before we kick this off, you guys got to make sure you subscribe to the podcast, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Apple. And of course, if you want to see this beautiful face of mine, and of course, an even more beautiful face of Jordan's, then make sure you subscribe also on YouTube. It's going to be a doozy. We're going to have a lot of fun. You don't want to miss out on the podcast, Barking for Balance. So Jordan, let's talk about fear. What are you afraid of? Now, in the present moment, 2021, what are you afraid of?
Well, hands down, from a little kid, big Spielberg.
No. Right now, what's your biggest
right
fear
now?
Right this second?
Well, it's something that established then and now has delved into a fear that's still modern day, and that would be sharks. I don't know what they are. They bother me and they scare me every time I'm in the ocean or even a lake where I know there are no sharks. I still pick up my feet real quick. I still get out and quick to the dock to get out of the water. I don't know why, but it scares me. I think it's the abyss, the openness of the ocean that really deters me from it, that anything could be out there at any moment.
Okay.
And it sits with me today. It would probably be sharks.
So what do you feel about shark movies like Jaws and all those other movies?
Yeah, Jaws, it is scary, and he can take a nice hefty bite out of some people. But it's fake. It's fugazi. It is a woozy. It is a wazi. That's exactly right. Yeah. So yeah, I would say collectively sharks, whether they're real sharks or fake sharks or animatronic sharks or mammal sharks.
Sharks in general.
Sharks in general.
Okay, so you obviously don't watch that show Shark Tank and what that shit.
I don't watch Shark Tank. I don't watch Shark Week, and I don't watch Sharknado. No shark. If it's got shark in it, I'm out of it.
Okay, well then, shark is what your fear. You know what my biggest fear is now, or for a long time?
Tell me, Pat.
Losing my hair. I would rather get eaten alive by a shark than lose my hair.
Yeah.
I'll let it turn fluorescent pink as long as it stays on the head.
So that's a fear that it's sat with you for a bunch of years now, and has grown into an even bigger fear now. Is it like when you get longer, you become more fearful with the more hair that you lose?
No, I'm not losing any of it. Okay. In fact, my hair has no permission to leave my head.
Oh,
Yeah, it's got to ask permission, and it's got to be replaced by 3 other follicles before it leaves the head.
And that's
So,
right.
yeah.
And this video is sponsored by Keeps. Call Keeps and get your first free trial of hair stuff today. We're not sponsored by them, but I just want to throw them a free plug right there.
Yeah,
Keeps.
there's no sponsorship. So if that
Trying to keep
Jordan's
your
into
hair.
that, God
Keeps.
bless.
Keeps, if you're listening, give us a call. Barking for
That's
Bounce.
true. You can sponsor this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It'll be good.
That's exactly
It'll
right.
be good. All right. So let's talk about fear. So fear is obviously something that you know as well as many other people that have been listening to this, that I was afraid of dogs till I was 28 years old, right? So what is your feelings on fear of dogs in general, and fear of dogs or fear in general?
We haven't gotten our own dog until 4 years ago. Our dog's 4 years old, and we got him 4 years ago. Before
What kind of
that, my
dog?
family, he is a Jack Russell, like English sheep herd dog mix. So he's a
Mm.
mutt, but he's beautiful. He's got the long legs like a runner should, but he's got that beautiful Jack Russell face and body.
She's a
I love him
hopper.
with all. He's a hopper. He's real excited, but now he's kind of docile. He kind of, just before it was thundering outside my house right now. He's all curled up in a ball right outside
Mm.
my door. He's so scared, doesn't want to see no one, doesn't want to play with anybody. You could walk up to that dog with a piece of chicken, and if it's thundering out, he will not take a little
We
nibby
got to talk
out of
about
it.
how to fix that.
We definitely do. I'm going to
Yeah.
circle it right here.
Hmm.
So, now my fear with dogs developed when I was going over to my friend's house. His name's Mike Aiello. Shout out Mike Aiello. And he had a very fearful dog that was loud. He was quick. He was fast. He was
Wait, the dog
I
was fearful?
the dog, no, the dog had no fear of
Oh,
anybody. I had the fear. Just a measly little 9-year-old Jordan walking over to hang out with his friends to play Pokemon cards, to watch YouTube videos like, two 9-year-olds would do.
hmm.
But arriving to his house, because it would happen just after school, no parents around, no supervision, just him in the home and me walking over to it. Now, the real struggle was getting down to the house because it was down kind of a hill, right? And I would walk up, I would scope it out, I would look left and right, I would even shout out a couple things to see if he would be coming right from the back, running around to see my beautiful face. So I would sprint, I would book it across Mikey's lawn, and I would jump right in through his front door, and I would evade all signs of Trooper.
But
Trooper
why
was
were you
his
scared
name.
of Trooper?
I was scared of Trooper because I had no prior experience with dogs in the past, really at length. And all of my previous experiences, because he was kind of a rambunctious, rowdy dog,
But he
every time
wasn't aggressive. It was just
he
like a
wasn't
perception.
aggressive, but he would greet me aggressive, or at least my 9-year-old self perceived it to be aggressive. He would jump up on me. He would take a little nibby out of my hand, and Mikey's mom would be like, "Oh, Trooper, stop it." She would always shush him away. But
Okay.
at the time, I'm like, I just felt a tooth. I don't really feel tooth too many
Hmm.
times on my skin, and it was
That's
very.
like a furry shark you were thinking at one point.
It's exactly right. I was very fearful of this dog because you want to get a piece of me. I wanted nothing to do with him, and I feel like he would smell my fear. It got to a point where he knew I was approaching the house, and he would come to the front lawn. He would make my life difficult. Where I
Mhm.
would walk away to the left, and he would follow me over, and I would have to call Mikey. Hey, can you bring Trooper in? It was a mess. It was a mess. So my fear of dogs bruised from that early adolescence experiences that I had collectively.
From Mike's dog. So you were afraid of dogs from 9 years old until when? Oh, or was it you were just afraid of that specific dog?
I think I was afraid of that specific dog. I've met tons of nice dogs that were way smaller than I was, but because this dog was rowdy and he was rambunctious and he was high energy and I was not all these things at the time, that's a story for a different day.
Mhm.
But right, all of these things kind of fested inside of me and it made me afraid of this dog. But then I would be sitting down at the dinner table and the whole family would be interacting with Trooper, giving him a nice rub on the head, and he was this beautiful, beautiful hound. He would never harm a soul. But I didn't see that initially. I was a little scared, a little bit turned off by Trooper at
Did you
first
feel like
glance.
he was like maybe like trying to overpower you, bully you a little bit?
It could be. It could be. At the time, I was easily bullyable. I was
Mm.
very bullyable. I was very, doe skinned, right? Kind of pale, didn't have much color. So, I mean, if I was a dog with the energy that he had, who knows? Who knows? I probably would be.
It's funny you bring that up because, like, people don't believe in the whole, human emotions play a role with how dogs behave. And when you're dealing with the dog, like you're describing, who's excitable, maybe a little bit on the dominant side, a little bit more like that bully type kind of thing, the weaker you show yourself, especially you're on the smaller size, your energy's low, your emotions are weak. that's like a powerhouse of emotions that's just going to make a dog just bulldoze right through you, and whether it's a child or adult, it's key.
It's key, and very similar to like how a blood can smell. I mean, how a shark can smell blood in the water from a mile away. He could smell me approaching the house steadfast. He could hear me coming, and just like you said, I wore it right on my sleeve. I wanted nothing to do with this dog. I didn't want to look him in the eyes because from an early age I was told not to look a dog in the eyes because then they will attack. They will
Hmm.
see you as a threat. So I never made eye contact with dogs from ages 1 to about maybe 11. I don't want to test them whether it was a little Shih Tzu or was a little, a Great Dane or something. Not
Hmm.
I'm not in the market to be testing any dog. So yes, like you had said, he would read it right off of me. I wanted nothing to do with him, and he wanted every piece of me.
Right. So that fear was basically weakness in the dog's mind. And so dogs are either going to reject it or attack. I'm sorry, they're going to either try to attack it to, snap you out of it, or they're going to attack you to just overpower you because, weakness is not allowed around
And
them.
why? And if you don't mind me asking, Pat, why is that the case? Why do they see weakness and they must pounce or attack or
It's survival of the pack. So, like when it comes to human emotions, a dog wants to make sure that you can be a source of trust and respect. And when you don't have that calm and firm energy, then they're going to feel. And of course, it's just dependent on the type. But if you're dealing with a dog who's has a personality, just a happy-go-lucky, really doesn't care about anything, then you could be whatever you want. It's not going to really make a difference. But if you have a dog like you're describing, who's more excitable, more dominant, more maybe a little undisciplined, they're just going to behave like dogs, which is we need to get rid of weakness. Weakness is not allowed. I mean, it's sad to say, but if you think about this in a family dynamic, a mother dog or even any animal for that matter has babies. Oftentimes in the wild, the weak one just gets left behind because it brings down the survival rate of the pack itself, of the family itself. So they can't deal with that. There was a video a while back that was about a cat. I don't know if it was in Africa or where it was, or some country, Asia or whatever. And it was a cat that had given birth to some kittens in a cave, and it was a snake that came in to basically eat the kittens. And the mama cat just took off. She tried to defend it, but then she just vanished. And then it's like some people came in and actually save the kittens from the snake. But there was so much criticism for like this cat. Oh, she's this mother, she would never left. This is animals. I mean, their survival instincts kick in. It's not like humans where they got to protect their young. It's different. You know what I mean? So the weakness is just, it's just not accepted. Whether it's fear or insecurity or nervousness or tension or anger or frustration, they don't
I,
trust or respect that.
I think people forget that too often too, where they want to connotate their dog to being just like another member of the family. I'm going to give
Mhm.
this dog my last name because he is my fourth son or what have you. That people forget that they have these underlying instincts. At the end of the day, they are animals. They are not people. No matter how much love or biscuits or trust you build with this dog, or even how docile you may get it to be, right? At the end of the day, they are animals. These instincts within them will kick in, their fight or flight or whatever, and they will act accordingly, right?
Mhm.
Just like I heard a story just here in Mountain Lakes. We had the fireworks last weekend, 4th of July. Big get together here at the house, had a lot of fun, lots of laughs. But I heard a dog down the block nearly ran right through the back door because he heard the booms outside. And his name is Oscar. And Oscar has been loose in the town for a couple days now
Oh, he
until
actually
thank
got
God,
free.
God willing, they actually found him. They brought him back home. He
Oh,
was 16 years old. He couldn't really hear well or see well. Oscar, I don't even know what kind of dog he was. I saw a photo, but for whatever reason, he was compelled and he ran right through the back screen door while the whole family was watching the fireworks, and he got away because he was so scared or he was so overwhelmed with the circumstance of the moment.
mhm.
And thank God they found him and they brought him back to his family. But it's a crazy thing. You never know what's going to happen or how they're going to act in incredible circumstances.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why before the whole 4th of July thing, I put out a podcast talking specifically about that, because exactly what you're talking about is dogs' instincts or animal instincts kick in. Humans are rational. So like when you're dealing with like a person that's afraid or child that's afraid, you rationalize with them. It's okay. and don't worry. But with the dog, again, you're showing weakness. Your emotions are really what are expressing you know what you're communicating is coming through your emotions. It's not coming from your words. They don't
Right.
understand what you're saying because they don't rationalize.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is
Yeah.
why when we're talking about fear, and you're describing it as from a 9-year-old child. I mean, the fact that you aren't afraid till this day is pretty shocking to me.
It is shocking to me as well. Well, I'm not fearful anymore
Right.
of dogs, obviously, because we got, our beautiful Bo, and it has changed, my life forever. Now I feel like I'm in public and I'm more friendly with dogs, and I'm so much more quick to be petting some other stranger's dog or talking to them or anything like that, and it's totally opened up my front door in terms of what is okay and what is comfortable with me, because I know what I have with my dog back at home, right? And I know how special he can be for me, and it has changed my world entirely.
But do you feel
Entirely.
the same way about other dogs when you meet them too?
I think a part of it will be a little fake. I just want to be nice, and you want to do the social right by other people that don't know you as well.
Mhm.
But at the same token, I feel like I have a greater capability of listening to them and hearing what they have to say about how much they love this dog and what he's up to, and I'm more open to chatting about my dog and their dog. It's just, you know, me having a dog has made it so much more okay for me to go, let's say, out of my comfort zone with other people in terms of dogs. Like, it
Right.
has opened up that door for me.
Right. So like when it comes to like fear, and you're talking about sharks, you're afraid of sharks. What I find when it comes to fear is that most of the time fear is fake. So you're playing like this movie in your mind and you see this outcome, and people are like, oh Bill, oh my God, I'm worried about this and I'm worried about that. And yeah, but this is what he used to do and this is what he's always done. But that's all emotions that are from the past. I'm sorry, those are all situations that are from the past. They're not in the present. So when it comes to like people being afraid of something, it's based on what you see in your head playing out, and it's not real. So like, for example, if you're seeing a dog, like for me personally, I never had a bad incident. I never even had any exposure to dogs, but I was terrified because of the fact that that was just implanted in my mind. A lot of it was, again, lack of exposure. A lot of it was because my mom is terrified, right? But then I would see like these images, and it would be like this dog jumping on me and biting me and just taking a chunk out, and me bleeding and me being on the ground, and it was like all this fiction playing around, but it was all fake. But what was real was the emotions behind it. That was real. And unfortunately, that's what, these guys are going to play off of, so fear is so, and I don't know how you feel about it. If you ever like lived it, because you even said before, before when you were talking about, how you used to be like shy and insecure and whatever's going on and being bullied, which I was bullied until like I was in high school, when I moved from Italy here. And even in Italy, I was being bullied because I was just that weakling, you know what I mean? Emotionally weak. So, fear is like debilitating. So, have you ever experienced anything where like that fear just kind of took over and it didn't allow you to do something or to be something or whatever?
I would say for certain, for sure, and now hearing you say that, it has kind of turned over some stones in terms of me that, y- yes, fear is not real, but fear is you. You are creating this story. You are painting this portrait of how that dog is going to be tearing chunks out of you, and you see it happen before it even happens, and that's where that fear comes. Like, you don't want that thing to happen, so you envision it happening almost like as a self-defense for you to counter that fear, because when it happens, right, you're not going to be fearful of it because you already saw it coming. So what I would say, probably in terms of fear, I would, probably just being successful, like in sports, like, different things, whether it be shooting a basketball or throwing a pitch. With my whole family there, I'd be fearful of failure. And I would totally get in my own head and I would psych myself out. And okay, what if you walk this guy, or what if you miss this jump shot? What then? What then? How am I going to sit in the car with my dad on the way home after I missed the last shot of the game, or I walked the bases loaded and I ended up coughing it up? So different things like that. Like, we're a very heavy sports family. So a lot of my early adolescent fear delves in sports, high anxiety, high stakes, your first team, camaraderie, social, everything, the whole nine. So I would be very fearful of just failing myself, of me being a failure collectively or failing at whatever task I was trying to accomplish. Definitely.
And that really paralyzed you from like in other ways to like move forward. And did that make you feel like you were being like made you more insecure and more like weak?
I can imagine it being that way for sure. Maybe not insecure, but definitely debilitating me in real time from even doing it.
So
Where
what, like you would
where it
describe it as more like nervousness and that kind of thing?
Yeah, almost like I was trying to think it into existence. Like I would think about it so much to the point where it would freaking happen. No matter what, or no matter what I tried to do to prevent it, it was almost like I was making it worse.
Make
And
it worse.
that fear inside of me, that anxiety inside of me would grow and grow and grow until it would pop. And then it would happen. And then I'd be there with, my hands at my sides, like, oh, I saw this coming, or I could have seen this, or I could have seen myself giving up that home run, or what have you. So yeah, definitely I think that the fear that you have, or the fear that you have about anything that you are fearful of, it is a direct reflection of you and your thoughts and what you perceive to be harmful to you or anything like that. You're making it up, like you had said. It's fugazi. It's not real until something actually happens,
You
but
say
nothing
fugazi, I say
happens.
facettia.
Posedia, fugazi, nothing is real until
And
it
if you got
actually happens.
and let me explain this one. If nobody knows what fugazi comes from, you gotta watch the movie. Jordan, which movie?
Ooh, the Bronx Tale.
No, it's not from the Bronx Tale.
What is it from?
Jordan Belfort.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, I thought you meant Fugazi. Fugazi, Fugazi. Yeah, it's a wazi, it's a woozy. That is a direct quote from The Wolf of Wall Street with the great Leonardo DiCaprio, a quote and a movie that I quote so frequently. I love it so much.
And I gotta throw this in there. I don't know if it's on Instagram or you tell us where that is, but I saw a video of Jordan performing a certain specific take from that movie, and he was awesome. Where is that, on Instagram or where is that?
That is exactly right. Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at I'm_Jor underscore daddy two. I'm not number one, I'm number two.
Spell that again
And
for him.
that is I'm your daddy, but instead of your, it's Jor with a Jor, and there's underscores in between I'm Jor daddy. And then there's a two right after the daddy. I'm not number one, I am number two. Number one, it's a long story. We've had a feud for a couple of years now. My TikTok, which is where you can find this exact video he's referencing, I couldn't even tell you the username. It's Jordaddy, but with like a million Y's. So I don't even know how much it is. If you probably search Jordan Kern, which is my last name, Kern, please don't come and stalk me. You can probably find it there. And it's like my most viewed video, but pretty much it's me recounting that exact scene where Jordan gets his very first sale when he's trading penny stocks at the very beginning portion
Don't give
of the
too
movie.
much away. Let's watch the movie.
I'm not giving too much away. I don't want to spoil nothing. But my name is Jordan. His name is Jordan. And I feel like I can just do a really good personification of Leo in that movie.
You got to watch it. Jordan becomes Jordan Belfort. Jordan Kern to Jordan Belfort. Actually
That's
brought back
exactly right.
memories from my old days as financial advisor and all that.
That's
So
right. I've heard a lot of grandiose stories about my friend Pat, about
Yeah,
his
we'll leave
days on the
that.
street.
we'll
trading
leave that
stocks.
for another time.
Another episode. Stay
We'll
tuned.
discuss the past
And if you
financial advisor crap.
And if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and dash on those notification bells because you don't want to miss an episode coming your way. Okay, do it right now.
There you go. Perfect. So let's back to fear. So what made you change? Because listen, I know you now, and I'm thinking to myself, how in the hell could this guy be shy or nervous or insecure or whatever we're fearful, whatever word you want to associate that to? Because listen, I got the same issues. If you would have seen me most of my life up until before I went to college, so I was in my 20s before I became a little bit more socially capable. We'll talk about, we'll say. But I know personally, like how I kind of slowly came out of it. But in your case, how did it go? What happened?
That is a great question.
Because as you guys
Well,
could see, this is not a nervous, insecure kind of fella. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
he's actually acting a little bit more conservative right now. So we're going to get him to crack that shell pretty soon.
Definitely. How I would say it for me, I was, let's see. Well, I come from a big family already, right? And,
Big
being
family
in
like
that,
siblings or like extended big family?
no, yeah, like just extended family, like, and I feel like I really found my voice right in like the third or fourth grade, when I started actually acting. I was an actor, I was a singer. Some may say child prodigy. I'm not the one saying it. I was involved in a bunch of different theater companies. I did a couple small productions here in town,
Like
and
movies
then
or just like plays and
no,
stuff?
no, like actual dramas. Like I did Oklahoma, and I did Thoroughly Modern Millie, and I
At
did
what age was
Willy
this?
Wonka. I think I got my first. I think I was in like the fourth grade when I got my first role, but then it really hit its stride in the sixth grade when I was cast as
As what?
Troy Bolton in my middle school's production of High School Musical. And I was in the sixth grade and I got cast as it. And away we went. I was singing, I was dancing, I was dribbling. And
Dribbling from your mouth?
I remember specifically in that show, right, there was one moment where it was before we had rehearsed for about a month and a half. And right before the people were going to take the stage for the very first time, there's a thing in the movie. It's kind of stupid, but pretty much
Which movie is this?
High School Musical.
Oh,
Pretty much before the game, I haven't seen the movie in a bunch of years, but pretty much before the game, all the people get in the middle, and they go like, "Who are we?" And then everybody shouts back, "Wildcats!" Right? So we were about to take the stage for our first show, and I like led that. I thought it would be a cool idea to do it. Not that we're High School Musical by any means. I mean, we're Rockaway Valley Middle School out here in Boonton Township, New Jersey.
mhm.
But I did it, and
Shout out to
after
Boone
that,
Township then, right?
shout out Boonton Township, shout out RVS. You guys grew me. Shout out Mountain Lakes, which is the town that I'm in right now. Both are amazing. But when I got them all to cheer at that last thing and we all took the stage, like I just remember being like, you got this, you got this. The packed house out there, it's gonna be amazing and it's gonna be phenomenal. And I trotted right out there on stage, curtains up, and away we went. And I really see that moment of my life.
So
This
you weren't in
moment,
that position where you were like overthinking it at that point?
not even. It was almost like I had so much confidence and assurance in what I was capable of that it had totally quenched any kind of fear or nervousness that I had, even though
So
every
why
family
was that
member,
though? Why what caused it?
I was a part of something like special. At least it felt special to me at the time. And there were a lot of people that were looking to me and were motivated by me. They were riled up because of me. And everyone was looking to me for attention, for direction, for energy. I was the lead in the show and everybody was going to follow on my own
So
order,
you were
even
like the
though
leader of the pack.
I was the leader of the pack. I was Troy Bolton. That's exactly right. Leader of the pack.
You were giving
Packman.
direction, setting boundaries, establishing limits.
That's exactly
You're a
right.
pack
Right.
leader with no
And you
dogs,
can
but
say,
still pack leader.
that's right. And when I took the stage, I had no limits and I was the pack leader and I was ready to lead this pack. In fact, that was the only thing on my mind. It wasn't even, oh, am I going to forget my words, which I've had my entire life? Oh, you're going to forget the line. You're going to mess up. You're going to fuck up this part of the song. No, I had it all under control. It was even keel. I had it all at my fingertips, like right in that. I remember vividly, like it was yesterday. This was the sixth grade, and I still remember it now. And I'm 23 years old. Just yesterday, like, who are we? Wildcats. Everyone was going crazy. The directors were there. Our parents were standing outside. It was a scene. And that was definitely a turning point for me in really how I shook off all those things that I knew I was previous to that. And then it's almost like I shed the shell, this old turtle shell. I've outgrown it. And now it's time for me to venture off and find a new shell, a new home.
And so if you had encountered Trooper, the dog that you were afraid of when you were 9 years old, feeling the way you were feeling at that time, what do you think would have happened?
I think I would have whistled. I think he would have laid down on his side, and I think I would have rubbed his belly for about 20 minutes.
I think
I
that
think
dog
that's
probably would have done your taxes too for the next 3 years.
I
Maybe even
think
cook you some
so.
dinner, a little fave. Yeah,
Mozzarella.
yeah, a little lasagna.
That's exactly right.
That's
I
right.
think he would have. He would have brought me right inside. He would have sat me down right there at the kitchen table, and he would have taken something right out of the oven that he's been preparing for about an hour
I'm
before he even
telling
knew I
you,
was
that's
coming.
exactly what would have happened. That's exactly what would have happened. So that's great.
And and it all stems from that fear, this fugazi fear that I was creating myself that was never even really there to begin with. And all the meanwhile, I had it right in here, this lion's heart.
Listen, I totally get that. And one of the things I practice and preach and preach and preach and preach to my clients is exactly that, because that fear is paralyzing. I don't know if you experienced this, but like there was times with me where just the fear would just, I call them the doubt monsters, where just like all these thoughts are in my mind. And they even happen till this day. It's just that I'm a lot stronger and able to kind of like just, well, fangulo to them now. But at the time when you're like just a weak little wimpy guy, those things beat you down and they win. They make you believe the bullshit. If
Exactly.
it's that's what the reality becomes. And unfortunately, you know, the reality of that is really what affects the mindset and the emotions of your dogs. You know what I mean? So like if we're talking about, you know, like you taking it, like for example, when you take a dog who you're walking down the street, right? And every time you see a dog coming towards you, get all nervous and fearful because you're imagining all this stuff from happening, right? You're imagining this craziness. You're imagining, your dog biting the other dog, or you're imagining him, jumping on the person, and you're just envisioning all this stuff. And the emotions are just making you feel more and more of that. So what most people do is they just avoid the problem. They just cross the street and then they never deal with it. You know what I mean? Because the
Right.
fear is more powerful than anything else.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And it's very funny because this brings up a story that I've actually shared with you in the past, but now is a great opportunity because you just prompted me perfectly. My girlfriend, shout out Marissa, love you so much.
It's a
My
lot of
girlfriend
shout outs
has
here today.
a lot of shout outs and there's more to come. My girlfriend, when she'll walk her dog in the neighborhood, right? Whenever her dog passes another dog, he goes crazy for whatever reason. He becomes something that he is not, and he starts barking. He wants to attack, and she has to physically restrain him. He's a big dog. He's like a Great Dane mix. So he's a strong fucker. I promise you. So she really braces with everything to hold him back. But it's gotten to the point now with her where she avoids it at all costs, where she'll see a dog that she knows in the neighborhood down the block, and she'll be like, okay, let's turn around right now. And she'll walk the opposite direction. And then she'll see a dog coming from that way. And then she'll be like, oh, I don't know what to do, because she doesn't want him to get, all riled up and get to the point where he's about to bust out that leash and attack that dog. Or at least that's what it seems like he's willing to do if she were to let go.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's really important. So how do you think your dog feels, or her dog? Yeah, it's both your dogs, obviously. How do you think your dog feels when that happens? Like, what do you think he's thinking?
I think he is nervous. He's probably nervous or maybe just fearful or anything like that, because he is a sweetheart. His name is Blaze. He's an absolute sweetheart. He is a love and a treat to be around at all times. But it's almost like when he gets out in the wild or he meets a new dog for the first time, it's like he's ready to kill. It's like he's never seen a dog before. It's like he's been in isolation or something like that. So I think it may be fear that he has, or maybe it could be something that he is just feeling about the situation. Maybe he feels the leash on his neck get a little bit tighter, and he starts looking around a little bit, looking for, okay, well, why is that happening right now? Or maybe it's more of the environment, or maybe it's a combination of them both. At least that's what I can come up with.
But you see what I'm talking about? How, you have a dog who's experienced fear and nervousness and tension, like you're describing it, right? Those are very vivid. See, Jordan's really good at making you like see what the words coming out of his mouth are trying to express. Like you just visualize all that stuff, right? So that's because she's feeling the same way. So now he's kind of like mimicking and copycatting what she's feeling. You know what I mean? And that's really why it's so important. Like if you're passing through these emotions through that leash, you got to pass good emotions, calmness, assertiveness, firmness, confidence. And then your dog's gonna be like, oh, it's not a big deal because my mom and my dad, they feel cool about it. But
Right.
if you're projecting certain emotions based again on the fantasies that are going on in your mind, your dog's going to play out those fantasies for you.
And
You
and
know?
she'll say some things too. She'll say a little buzzword. She'll be like, oh no, Blaze, oh, like she'll make all those kinds of noises before the situation happens, or she'll groan or she'll moan and she'll pull him around. So he's already on alert, even when he gets turned around, right, while they're in the middle of their walk. He already knows something's up, something's in the water, whether he saw that dog or not.
Mhm.
Something is up because mom is not the same. Mom is not okay. Something's up with mom. So that must
Exactly.
mean there's got to be something up with me, or pretty soon.
Exactly. So if you think about this, who is creating that behavior?
It could be mom.
That's exactly where it stems from.
Think
So
it
if you
could be
think about
mom.
this logically, this is not about, what do we always say? We do what around here? A Pac-Man to the rescue. What do we do?
Packman to the rescue. We train the people and we do not train the dogs.
That's
Okay.
right.
So
You
if you
heard you,
came here for
Jordan.
dog training, okay, it's not for dogs, it's for the people. We're training the people and not the dogs.
You heard Jordan. We train people, not dogs. You want to know why? Because if we train dogs, we teach them to perform silly little tricks. There's little treats, all that stupid. No, it's all crap, right? So if we understand the source of the behavior is the emotion the dog is feeling that's triggering that behavior, right?
Mm.
So now why is those emotions there? Where are those coming from? They're coming from, like you said, from mom. So
Right.
if you address the source, which is mom or dad, we won't put anybody on the spot here. See, shout out to Marissa. So we won't put anybody on the spot there. Source, emotions, behavior, it's all gone.
Right.
Hallelujah. And then we can sing and dance, right? Man, I gotta learn. I get some better dance moves here. I'm not looking good with that, but that's besides the point.
Catch a man a fish and he eats for a night, but teach a man to fish and he will eat for life.
Amen.
And that's why we're training you. We're training you. Okay. So get out your fishing rod and let me teach you how to fish so that you can feed yourself after I leave this stankly ass town here on the coast of Ireland. Okay.
Coast of Ireland.
Or wherever people are catching fish. I don't know. Cambodia. I don't know. Is there even a shoreline there? Who knows? I'm not sure. I don't even know where that is. Is that a town? Is it a place? Is it a country?
Based on the Men in Black movie, you could get I think it was the Men in Black 2 or 1. I forget which one. You could get a lobster dinner for $1 in Cambodia.
Really?
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's,
I've never seen the Men in Black movies. I know Will Smith is in it, and I know they'll erase your brain. But other than that, bunch of aliens, I'm pretty sure.
Close enough.
Sure. Cool.
It's similar. It's similar. We'll watch our Wolf of Wall Street stuff. That's better.
That's right.
Although I do like Men in Black, so that's cool. Although let's not forget, what's the best movies right now? Marvel. Captain America, Steve Rogers.
My man is repping a Captain America chain live on stream. If you're on YouTube, you could see it. If you're on Spotify, you cannot. So if you are on Spotify, keep listening, finish this episode, and then jump over to YouTube and check out our pretty little faces here. There it is. It's beautiful. It's the Captain America shield because my man loves Captain America and he's not going to apologize for it. Okay. He loves Captain America. Cap is what makes this world go round. Cap is a great example of exactly what we were just talking about of the fear. How he was a fearful, little squiggly, little tiny, wimpy kid, dopey, could never get a girl. U.S. government injects him with some serum or something. Boom. Confidence busting at the seams. He is ready to save this great nation. In fact, he did multiple times.
He saved the world. Let's not forget, he saved the world.
He saved a lot.
Hammer and shield, baby. Hammer and shield.
He saved me, you, the world, everybody.
That's right.
Saved us all.
From the purple motherfucker. That's how it works.
From that.
That was a good drink, though. We could have a couple of purple motherfuckers. Those are good. I think they're called Purple Haze. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Purple Haze, isn't that a song by Prince?
That was before your time. I'm talking about when I started going to the clubs when I was your age.
Haze.
I feel like an old man right now, but let's move forward from that.
Let's move forward.
Oh man. All right. So who needs who? Who needs who more? That's a big question. Who came first, the chicken or the egg?
I would say tough.
That's a tough one.
I don't know.
But we don't care about chickens. Let's move on to past chickens, dogs. So who needs who more? This is an interesting topic. So we're going to talk about that. Jordan, what's your take? Who needs who more? Dogs need humans more or humans need dog more?
Yeah, you're talking about dogs or people are dogs. Like who needs who more? That's what you're talking about, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I have my theory on the two.
Who do I think needs this more? Do the dogs need the people more or do the people need the dogs more? If I were to pick one, I could be a kumquat and say that dogs need people more because they could not survive without them. That if there was an outbreak or a lack of food supply or something, the dogs would be looking for the humans for help. And yes, these things are true. But I think when you stack it up, acorns to acorns, I think that the benefits that us people, us humans, the human race that we receive from dogs far outweighs the needs of the dogs themselves when you were to get an even playing field. It's an immeasurable amount that I get from my dog, just me, Just all the
Like
things
what?
that my dog has given me. Let's see. What has my dog given me? He has given me love, and he's given me licks and kisses, and he'll listen to my problems sometimes when I have no one to talk to, and I'll just talk to him out loud, and he gets excited to see me. He gets so excited to see me. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, we can talk about that maybe down the road, but it is very, very reassuring. Hey, there is nothing that a husband wants more in a loveless relationship than to come home to his wife with a beautiful cooked meal and all this energy. She's waited all this day to see him. That's all he wants, and that's all I want. I want to be greeted and licked and just looked
Wait, we're
at and
talking about you're talking about your dog or with
the
Marissa?
dog. Yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
should have made that more clear. I'm
Okay.
talking about the
You
dog
don't want
licking
Marissa
me.
jumping all over you, licking your face or anything.
I can't comment on that. But when I come home, my dog is so excited to see me. It's almost like if I was having a terrible day up to that point, or if I got some traffic on the way home, or what have you, it's like, oh, yes, like I am home. Bo is here. He is excited to see me. Maybe he wants a treat, and maybe that's why he's so excited because I'm usually the one to give him the treats. But he is excited,
And that makes
however
you
you
feel
stack
good.
it up. And that makes me feel good. That's exactly right.
Mhm.
Exactly right.
So here's the thing. So when it comes to like who needs who more, I think it's basically a toss up because
Mm,
the problem is that unfortunately people put their own feelings and their own needs ahead of their dog's needs, right? So, yes, dogs do need stuff from us. Otherwise, like you said, they'd be starving. But that's the problem is that their needs are really basic. So, on the previous podcast, I talk about homeless people and dogs, which you and I actually had this discussion. And of course, this was supposed to be a discussion that I was planning that day and having with you on that episode. But unfortunately, Jordan, was unable to attend that recording. I was going to throw
Achisa
that out there.
marrón.
That's right.
Ay,
But we're
ay,
here
ay.
now, and that's
This
all that matters.
guy. Oh
We
my
live in the
God.
present.
We're not gonna talk about it.
We're not going to talk about that. But I wanted to have this talk because I just felt like it was something important to talk about, like homeless people and dogs, because, people feel bad for the dog, and I've seen some of the most calm, happy, and well-behaved dogs with homeless people. And I feel that the reason why that is because they're not overstimulated and they're not overspoiled because they're provided the basic needs from this homeless person who doesn't possess anything material, but yet is providing his dog everything that they want and need, right? So that dog is happy. And if you take even if you take that dog and you put him into a household that's very loving and caring, they spoil him rotten, all of a sudden that dog develops anxiety issues and nervous issues and fear issues and aggression issues. And then people will blame it on, well, that's because of his background or where he came from. No, it's because of the fact that we are overstimulating them, you know, and we're over spoiling them, but we're not providing them that source of calmness. We're not providing them that mental and physical stimulation, proper mental and physical stimulation. We're not providing them with a source of old school instincts of, primal instincts, which is really what dogs are all about. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when we were talking about like who needs who more, right? And then I was thinking about this with the cats that I take care of in the neighborhood over here, in the neighborhood over here. And there's one cat who I'm going to be taking in. I already decided that. I mean, so anyway, but we'll get to that another time. I discussed that in a previous episode, but I've decided it's coming. So, one before, but a few years ago, I actually got one of those cats from my neighbor, my next door neighbor. And I felt happy that this cat was off the streets, right? But then for months, this cat was like on the windowsill, and I would see it every single day on the windowsill meowing away. And I couldn't help but wonder, did I do the right thing? Like by getting this cat off the street, yeah, doesn't have to worry about illnesses, doesn't have to worry about, feeding wasn't a problem because I took care of that. Getting run over by a car, other animals. Yes, that's the case. Weather, and today it was, we have storms over here and it's like pouring. And I'm thinking, my baby over here, my baby Scooter's outside. And I'm thinking, but if I bring him home, is he going to be happier? You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that's what I feel that most people, and which is what I try to, instill, is our job is to provide dogs what it is that they want, not what we think that they want. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
And what they want is not material stuff. They just need their basic needs met,
You know,
but it all starts from like that mental health. Because I'm sure
Right.
you've seen plenty of dogs that get rescued. I know I see them constantly,
For
that
sure. All the time.
their
Right.
body gets rescued, but their
Mm.
brain is trapped.
And
So
and
they're still suffering.
to the people who are listening to him and still don't agree, I mean, I am with you. I do agree with him now because we've talked about this at length, this same topic of the people who will still walk down in New York City or, wherever a major city is, and they'll see that homeless dog with that homeless guy. Really take into account what Pat said there, because I know sometimes your emotions can get the best of you. And initially, I'm like, "Are you crazy, guy? What do you mean that these dogs are fine, they're taken care of, and they're cared for, and that they see everything that they would want from an owner, and that they're happy and they're fed and everything like that?" When we like I was saying before, like you have such emotion that's tied into like human emotion, like what we know as suffering or what is depriving them of their happiness, because we've seen dogs frolic through dandelion fields in the sunlight, and they're getting glazed over, and they're getting groomed by the van that'll come to your house for $50 a session, things like that. That's all that we know. This is dog paradise. And that's not the case. That what a dog needs sometimes is not exactly how we see the perfect dog life panning out, right? So for all those people like me myself, I was just in Nashville last summer, and it's so funny because I thought of the same exact instance. But there's a guy sitting right on the corner, right in the main street of Nashville, all the bars, drunk people walking by, and he's got this beautiful dog. This beautiful, like, he almost reminds me of Socks. Like, he was like a pit bull, kind of dark in the face, and he was sitting there, didn't have a care in the world, was all smiles, walking up to strangers and everything. The homeless guy was sitting right there, and he was doing what, he was asking for money. He's got a little tip jar or whatever. But I remember thinking to myself, and all the girls who are around me, like, oh my God, could you imagine putting a dog through that? We gotta do something. We call the cops. I'm like, cops.
In the meantime, how did that dog look to you?
That dog, I mean, again, I was on the team, like, how could you do this to a dog?
Right, but how did he look? Like when you looked at him, did he look miserable?
He looked fine.
Like nice and calm and relaxed?
It looked like he was so excited to see people. He looked like he was about to get a job inside dancing on top of one of the bars. I mean, he looked fine. His owner was obviously concerned about getting dollar bills. But the dog didn't have a care in the world. He was happy to lick whoever came his way.
Mhm.
But again, in that instance, you don't see that. You don't
No
see, well, how does
aggression
that dog
issues, no
look?
anxiety,
No
right?
aggression, nothing.
Mhm.
Totally personable with the people, with complete strangers, completely different smells before, and he was cool as a cucumber. He was cooler than I was more nervous or anxious than he was,
Right.
and I was just looking at him. I was getting anxious because of him. It was
Mhm.
marvelous. Crazy.
Yeah.
But like you had said, it is, what is truthfully right. As long as this dog is loved for and is well fed and everything, and they're a calm and cool, collected dog. I mean, who knows? Maybe when that dog in Nashville, that homeless dog, meets a regular dog from the suburbs who's had it tied up his whole life, maybe they wouldn't see eye to eye. Maybe
Right.
they wouldn't agree about certain things and qualifications, right? It's all standards.
Mhm.
It's all standards and what's right for the animal.
Yeah. And like the one thing I could tell you is when like listen, my guys, Socks and Pepper are spoiled. You know what I mean? I'll be honest. I have 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 containers of treats.
Mm.
I have 3 beds for them, memory foam, very expensive beds just for them. And at night they
Oh,
sleep in the bed, the real
oh
bed.
boy. Oh boy.
So they have toys galore. They have everything. I mean, they have collars. They have sports themes collar. They have superhero themed collars. They got all this kind of fancy stuff. Does that really mean shit to them? Absolutely. They got coats for the wintertime, like literally coats with hoods on them, that are winter coats with the little cloth things on the
They don't
sleeve
know what a
area.
code
Like
is. They don't know what a code is.
they don't care. But some of this is for like what I want to provide them in it because it's what I want to provide them. Now, the relationship, which is exactly what you were talking about before, man, which is husband wife, right? Husband has needs and wants. Wife has needs and wants. So if one is being provided those needs and wants by the other, but not the other way around, is that a good relationship?
I don't think so.
Exactly. A human dog relationship is exactly that. It's a relationship. So our job is to provide the dog what they need. And it's very basic. They need mental and physical stimulation, which is not, I repeat, is not running around the backyard. That's playtime. They need
Right.
mental and physical stimulation. They need structure, direction, bounds, and limits and rules. And then they need rewards, everything in balance, which is why it's called barking for balance. See what I'm saying? Shout out to barking for balance.
Shout out Barking for Balance. Shout out Pat Buttigieg. Shout out
Batita.
Pat Butita. Shout out all the Pat Butitas out there who hate getting called by Buttigieg. I'm going to call him Buttigieg. It's Butita. I know the right way to do it. But this is Barking for Balance. If you haven't liked or subscribed already to the podcast or the channel, please do it right now. What are you waiting for? Get down there, turn on the notification bells, and let's get this thing going.
There you go. There you go. So
That's me.
I guess we're in agreement. Like, who needs who more? What's the final response here?
I think the final response is exactly what you summated. I think it's exactly that. It is close, but in terms of value to me, in terms of human value, that we garnish the most from having dogs in our lives than the dogs. I'm not trying to belittle what dogs get from us humans because it is immeasurable.
Mhm.
But at the same token, I think that whether people want to admit it or not, that dogs do a whole number of things that we can't even discuss. We can't even put it into words. It goes above our ears. It is not even uncomprehendable, the things that they do for us sometimes. We only know so much about our body and how our brain works, right? We're still learning every day. Scientists are still pushing to figure out the new whatever have you.
Mhm.
So I think it really equates to that we, dogs do way more for us humans than we can ever do for them.
Well, I think that's true, but I feel that with education, proper knowledge, I think that formula can be balanced out. Barking for balance, it's all about balance. So the problem is that, again, without the proper knowledge, listen, you can't give somebody willpower. That's impossible. But we could give them the knowledge. And unfortunately, like in my job, that's really what most people lack is the right knowledge, the right information. They Google the stupid stuff from the dog training world with the treats and the obedience commands. And they're not understanding the fact of the matter that what their dog needs is basic stuff. It has nothing to do with obedience commands and treats. So if we provide people with the right knowledge, people love their dogs, man,
Right.
but they love their dogs the wrong way. So they're getting what they need from their dogs. Like you talked about it before. You said this before. You talk to your dog, you're having a bad day and you sit there and you're telling him your problems and he's listening to you probably and his head is tilting and you're like, "Oh, he really understands me." And you feel fulfilled, you feel listened to, you feel appreciated. You know what I mean? Your dog has no clue what the hell you're saying,
No.
but he provided you what it was that you needed at that moment. That's a
Right.
beautiful thing.
It
You know
is.
what I'm saying? So what our job is to do is to reciprocate that, but it's more than just what we think in our brain. Is we have to adapt and understand their brain. So like
Mm.
if you think about it, and I want you to ask Marissa this question. It's Marissa, not Maritza.
Marissa,
Marissa. Shout out to Marissa.
Marissa. Yeah,
That's
Marissa, if you're listening, listen up right here. Go.
so men and women, right? Are they different?
Yeah, definitely. For
Right?
sure.
Men and women are different. So if we think, feel, and act like ourselves, and we don't try to understand what it is that our woman wants and needs from us, are we going to provide them what it is that they want and need if we're just thinking about it from our own perspective?
No.
No. So our job, in order to have a solid relationship, a balanced relationship, is to take ourselves out of our own shoes, out of our own skin, and understand what it is that they are all about. Because what
Mm.
makes sense to us may not make sense to them. And it doesn't matter if it makes sense to us, if it doesn't make sense to them. If
Right.
it doesn't make them happy and fulfilled, then what's the point?
Right.
So we have to take ourselves out of our own shoes and put ourselves into theirs. And that's what I try to do with this whole thing with Packman to the rescue and the whole dog world, is to educate people on the real facts of what a dog truly wants and needs from you. I never have to teach my people, my clients, or anybody for that matter, who's a dog lover, how to love their dog. I have to teach them when and how much at the right time.
Mm.
How much in general, sky's the limit. But
Right.
sometimes love, when you're dealing with the wrong thing, it's not effective. It's almost like when you have a person who's going through some stuff and all you try to fix it is with love. Does that work?
Mm.
All you need is love
Rarely.
is not really true.
No. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I hear you. Wow. That is
So
true. That's
yeah.
a lot to take in, a lot to digest there, a lot of words, but a lot
Remember,
of
it's all about balance. So I'm never telling people not to do stuff. Like I said, 9 jars of treats, memory foam beds, and all, but it's about balance. You have to balance everything out because if you do one more than the other, formula's off, you're
yep,
out of balance.
that's exactly right.
And the
You have too
scales
much
tip over.
weight. That's right. On the scales, if you got too much weight on one side of the scale, it's going to tip over. It's not going to work.
That's
You're going to
right.
break you're going to break your scale.
That's right. That's right. And this is like old school, mentalities where there wasn't a lot of that balancing act. Like, for example, with my parents, and there wasn't a lot of understanding. Like, for example, like my father's since passed away, but my mom, I try to get her to like watch these things for the sole purpose, if anything else, is to kind of like just learn about stuff. Cause we don't talk about dogs. We talk about
No.
whatever. Right.
Right.
And
Right.
I speak Sicilian today, was a little more mellowed on the Sicilian, parliamo siciliano tanto. But we speak Sicilian and whatever. And of course she yells at me when we talk about, like when I say like curse words and stuff, but just to like learn and improve, just to get an idea, even if close to 80 years old, there's still room for improvement. So this way, I'm hoping that at some point she'll understand the dog world better. And even if she gets one thing out of it, she gets to see her beautiful son, how awesome he's become. Hey, you know what I'm saying? And plus now I'm going to make her watch it and listen to it because she gets to see this beautiful face of yours, Jordan, and the beautiful voice as well. Not just the gorgeous one here. You know what I'm
Hello,
saying?
Mrs. B. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Jordan, and it is great to meet you. And hopefully, we'll maybe get to meet in person one day. Who knows?
That's right. Ciao, mama. Salutamo. Salutam.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
My mom is so technologically like deficient. She has an iPad and she uses it as a Facebook box.
Mm, mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, Pat. Pat, do I have a story for you
Go
about
for it.
my mom and her technological difficulties? Okay, so oh God, this is so funny. So I actually was not there for this story, but I got the entire rundown from my brothers. But pretty much, we're all big Mets fans. LFGM, we love the Mets. And my brothers had gone to a game
Wait.
with
LFGM?
that's Let's fucking go Mets. That's our rallying cry. That's what Mets fans say to other Mets fans to let them know how serious of a Mets fan you are, right?
I like it.
If I say LFGM and someone gives me a little fist bump or they say it right back, I know you're in. You're in. Okay, we're going. Get on this boat. So they're at a game. This is maybe 2 years ago, and my mom and both my brothers are there, both diehard Mets fans. And something had happened where my brother knew he was going to be on the big board. That someone from the stadium was walking around with a microphone and they were going to quiz him about questions that he already knew the answer to about Mets history or what have you. I don't even know what the segment was, but he knew he was going to be on the big board. So he takes out his phone and he goes, I've been waiting for this moment my whole life to get a photo of me on the big board here at Citi Field for all these beautiful fans. So his time comes. He hands my mom the phone. The camera is open. It is perfectly calibrated to exactly his specifications. He goes through the whole thing with the guy from the stadium. He asks us questions. Jason is all smiles. It's video worthy. Some people, they say, were brought to tears. My brother sits down, right? He's red in the face. He gets so red so quick. And he looks at his phone and he opens up his camera roll and there's nothing there but 2 photos of my mom's face. She had figured out a way to flip the camera around during that whole ordeal and had captured 2 photos of just her own face and had missed my brother on the Jumbotron entirely. And this is something now that he talks to till this day. And now he is destined to go back to Citi Field and to get on that big board and to finally get that photo because its opportunity was tripped upon.
So it wasn't just a photo. She was supposed to get like the video of him actually
He
talking.
was supposed to get the whole moment, whether it be a photo of him on the big board or a photo of him getting interviewed or
but she didn't
anything.
see like on the camera that it wasn't him.
And again, the most amazing thing is that she has the same exact phone herself. It's not like she has an Android or something. She doesn't know the buttons or whatever. She still managed to mess this up. And just like you were saying about your mom, I just feel like some people, you get to a certain age that technology kind of just evades them. That
Right.
I think my parents' generation, it had just eclipsed them by a little bit. To my parents, cassettes and VCRs and all those things were new age technology,
Mhm.
right? Whereas to us, the iPads and the iPhones and the Apple Watches and everything and the AirPods, what have you, that is our new age technology. And I'm sure when I have my own children and they ask me to take a photo of them with their Gigamatron or whatever they have, I will figure out a way to hit the wrong button
Oh
and
my
and
God.
and fuck it up that way. But until that day comes, this is just a very, very funny story about not only my family but my mom and
Well,
sometimes the capabilities.
I could tell you one person who was not going to think this is a funny story.
Who?
Your brother. Maybe
Yes,
actually
no, he
two people.
definitely.
Your mom probably doesn't think this is a funny story at all either.
No. In fact, it's not discussed. And they were just at a game like a couple of weeks ago, and they ended up getting a very nice photo with Steve Jelbs. If you're a Mets fan, you know who he is.
Mhm.
He's like the guy who is on the broadcast but walks around the stadium. They had
Oh, he's
pretty
not a
nice seats,
player.
and Steve was walking around. No, he's in like the SNY blazer, and my mom actually got a photo of all of them together, or I think maybe Steve took it. I'm not sure, but my mom had definitely. Um, rescued herself from that whole situation. So it's good to see. It's good to see
Oh
that the
man,
band's back together. We're all back at City Field and they're all having a good time. So
that is a hysterical story. I love it.
yeah,
I'm telling you,
absolutely.
when it comes
Ab,
to parents, man.
you never know. And two, while I'm here, I do have one more story about my father. While I'm talking about both of my
Uh-oh,
parents, I
we're
may as
trash
well
talking parents here. This
mention.
is the new segment.
I may as well mention my dad here. So
Listen,
how do
we
what?
could do this as a segment. We trash talk our family.
Yeah, that's fine. No,
I
it's
like
fine.
it.
Yeah, let's just trash talk. You had me talk about parents. I'm going down the road or whatever. So I work in the food service. I work part
You work
time at a
where?
restaurant right down my house. It's Hapgoods. I'll shout out Hapgoods, 44 Midvale Ave. We do brunch on Sundays. We're open till 3 p.m. Kitchen closes at 2:30.
We are not sponsored by them. I just want
We're
to point
not
that out.
sponsored.
But
Hapgoods, if you
go ahead.
Hapgoods Hapgoods, if you're listening and you want to go in on a sponsorship for a low cost but a high ceiling, now is a opportunity to jump in on Pat the Packman. What we're brewing over here is going to be delicious cold brew coffee, and you don't want to miss out.
That's right.
So
Barkeep for
if you're
balance.
listening, Billy, Marty, Fernanda, if you're listening, okay, give this man a call. Pat the Packman, Pat Butida. So I work in food service and I bus tables and I wait on tables on the weekends for cold hard cash. And so when I go out to restaurants in public with my family, it's almost like I have a film. Like I know what they're going through. I can relate with any server. Anybody looks like they're kind of stressed, I'll just touch them on the wrist. I'm there with you. I've been there and I know what you're going through. You're gonna get through this.
You're
Different
talking
things
about
like
when you go out to eat outside
when I
of.
go out to eat, yes.
Okay.
Now, my father has not worked in a restaurant since he was flipping burgers at his local burger joint in Freehold, New Jersey, when he was 15 years old, saving up some money to buy his moped or whatever, right? But ever since then, he's merely been a diner and not someone who serves, right? Or even works in the restaurant at all. So, we get to this restaurant, a nice restaurant, high ceilings, and there's candles lit on the wall, and the music is playing nice jazz, and it's kind of low light, right? It's a very nice restaurant. We all got dabbled up, but we're all kind of exhausted
Special
from
event?
this special event. No, we weren't. Actually, what am I saying? Yes, it was Lydia's birthday. It was Lydia's 52nd
Who's
birthday, if
Lydia?
I'm not mistaken. Lydia is my dad's fiance.
Got it.
Yes. So we were all going out for Lydia's birthday. We were all there. And before we even sit down, my dad looks for a waitress who's nowhere in sight. And he just shouts to whoever's cleaning the table, just the guy closest to him who has the company uniform on. And he goes, "We're going to need waters. Everybody here is going to need waters and we're going to need waters quick." And he'll just sit down. Right. He doesn't know who he was just talking to. It could be another patron. Right. But all he knew in that moment was waters. He'll do different things like that. He orders a nice tea, right? And what the sugar boat that they bring out for him is evidently not enough white sugar for his liking. So he requests more sugar. Then they bring out no more sugar. They bring out just whatever else is coming. So he starts looking for other tables. He's like, "Where? I'm gonna go grab that sugar from that table over there. I'm gonna go steal the." No, Dad, just sit down, just relax. It's fine. They're gonna bring it. They're on it. Don't you worry. He gets a little antsy. And then the lady comes over. It's a loud restaurant, a lot of people around. She starts reading off the specials. It's about like a 4-minute spiel she's got to get through about the veal and the apricots and everything, right? He
You're
is on
making
the
me
very
hungry.
He's on the very far side of the table. She starts talking about the special. She's got a mask on. So
Was this
she's
an
moving
Italian
out.
restaurant?
It's an Italian. I think it was like an Italian American kind of restaurant. They do burger, steaks, things like that.
Okay.
So she's got a mask on. I don't know why, but she still does. But she's trying to read these specials, so she moves it away from her mouth just a little bit, an inch or two, just so she can get like better aeration of the words. Right. So my dad's at the end of the table. She starts talking. She's about a minute in, and he just shouts, "I can't hear you. I can't hear you." Right. She, unbeknownst to her, she keeps going. I'm looking at him. I'm in between them both. I'm looking up at her. I'm looking at him. And I just give him the hand. I'm like, relax, guy. She's gonna get down south to your side of the table if you just give her a freaking minute.
How many
Because
people were you there with?
it was all my family. So it was the 8 of us. It was
8 people.
and Lena's boyfriend. So it was just 8 of us there. So it was a bit bigger table.
And you're
Okay,
the
but
only
by
one that's
him-
kind of like trying to
I'm
calm
the
things
only
down.
one. Yeah, this doesn't concern anybody else. But by him saying that, okay, now it's the both of us who cannot hear her by you saying that. She's trying to talk about veal and the sides and the specials for tonight, and I can't hear her because you're chapping about you can't hear her. So we're going back and forth, and then finally she ends up going down to the end of the table and reiterates the specials to him. The whole funny part of the story is because after that exchange, I look him in the eyes and go, "You're an asshole. I would hate to be serving a table like you. You are being such an asshole right now, not only to her, but to me. Like you should know this better, having a son who works in this kind. Oh, well, oh, please. I was just making a joke or whatever. Right. So all of our food comes except for his and my brother's plate. Right. And
They
the
didn't
waitress
put all the
comes.
spit on it yet.
They didn't do it. They were finalizing that in the back kitchen. But finally, I'm eating my steak and everything. So she comes to check
What'd
on
you have?
us. I had the steak frites, which with a side of mashed potatoes. It was a very nicely cooked steak. I loved it. I loved it. It was delicious. Yes, it was right by the Turtleback Zoo out there in West Orange.
That means hunger, by the way.
Hunger.
Petito.
Yes, I was very hungry and I was consuming a delicious steak, but my dad's food had not arrived just yet. So the waitress comes over, as one would, to check on the people who are eating their food. And she asks, "Oh, how is everything, guys?"
Before you finish that, really quick,
Go,
is it
go.
waiter, waitress, or is it server now?
At Hopkins, we do server. I feel
Okay.
like waiter, waitress is for a more upscale dining experience.
Oh, okay.
Waiter, waitress is like, it sounds like they're more qualified. They've made
Really?
they made it through Dunkin'. They've
Oh.
made it through the local diner.
I thought
They've
that was a
made
very
it-
demeaning term
They
now.
made it through Outback and now they're here.
Fair
They've ranked the scale to finally get to this kind of status.
Thank you for the
Now they-
clarification.
Yeah, of course, anytime. So, she asked the whole table how our food is and how it's tasting and everything. And we all
And
said,
your
"Oh,
dad
it's
still
good."
hasn't gotten his food.
Dad hasn't gotten his food. And, everybody around the table who had their food goes, "It's delicious. I love it. I
Wait,
love my
so
food."
7 people, food, 1 person, no food.
Well, I did 2. So it was him and my brother both didn't get their food. So 6 of us are eating. And I look at her, I give her the thumbs up. I go, "It's phenomenal." That's what I always say. Whether it is or not, I go, "It's phenomenal." Right? Because, what am I going to do with this? I'm not going to send it back. I'm not that kind of person.
Was it
And
phenomenal?
Right. It was phenomenal. It actually was phenomenal. So this instance, I was not lying. But before she could leave, right? After everybody had done talking, my dad had to say, "Their food is great. I had a little piece of each of them, but it doesn't compare to the food that I have. My food is delicious." Meanwhile, this is a man sitting in front of a naked table and a napkin on his lap. There's no food in front of him. And the lady just kind of stands there and looks at him for about 30 to 45 seconds before I go, "Thank you so much. I gotta end this. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for him. He don't disregard him at all." And then my dad looks around. What did I say? What are you talking about? I'm like, "Dad, you can't say that. You are such an asshole when you say something like that." And he had no idea. He thought we were just messing around. He's chuckling. He's laughing. He thought everybody got a real good kick out of it, about his little, "Oh, my food's not here" joke, but it's really good. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's a little piece of my dad.
So your dad's not really like a dick. He's just more of like just
My dad
a
is not a
goofy guy?
dick. No, he is not a dick at all, but he loves a good joke. And like he is the king of jokes and dad jokes collectively. Like I throughout my whole life, I mean, I would have a list longer than every dollar I've ever made of all the jokes that he has made just in the nick of time. He'll just come up with a dad joke, or I'll see the last name on a jersey and it'll be like, he'll have some funny kind of sentence to say about it.
Is it funny?
It is funny. There's a lot of
Or
times
like,
okay, so it's gone. I'm always his comedic relief. If no one gets a laugh, he will always get a laugh out of me. But because of these circumstances at a restaurant, right, I wasn't going to let these kind of jokes fly
That's a
because
sensitive
he's
spot
not,
for you.
it's a sensitive spot for me. And I can very quickly put myself in this poor woman's shoes about all the beratement and everything. And
Because I'm
at the
sure you've
end,
experienced that shit yourself
of
and 10
of
times
course
worse.
of course I have. Of course, about these. Oh my God, you get back in the kitchen like, oh, you fucking
You know, next
douchebag.
segment, I want to hear some stories about restaurant stuff.
This guy at 10 is giving me the worst time of my entire life. What time is it? Can I go home? That's what I would be saying. Right. And I'd be like, fuck this guy. I'm not gonna get your fucking sugar or anything else that he's asked for. And the funniest part of the whole story is he finally gets his food, and it is one of the specials
After how
that she
long?
was after, like, I was nearly done with my food. So it really was
Uh-huh.
like 10 to 15 minutes after we had gotten our plates, which was a problem that we had to root out after the fact. Um, but he ended up getting his food and he ordered a pork chop, but they brought out like a veal kind of thing. She's like, that's the veal pork chop. He's like, well, every time I've ordered a pork chop in my life, it's never been veal. So why is it veal now? She's like, well, it's
Wait,
a
it's a
veal.
veal pork chop?
It's a veal or porterhouse is what it's called.
Okay.
Porterhouse. I don't know steaks, whatever the
Okay.
cut of whatever. It was veal, and he thought he was getting a porterhouse, just a regular steak, not the
Uh-huh.
veal. But because he was a fucking douchebag at the beginning when she was running through her specials, he didn't hear it correctly, right? And he ended up getting the wrong thing. So it ended up coming to bite him in the butt after it was all said and done. And then we
But
had a
did he eat it?
he ate it, and I think they even took it, or I don't even know if he ate it. He was picking at it for a bit. We had to have the waitress come over and investigate. Oh, is this veal? Is this pork? It tastes like pork. It was a whole big thing. I think he ended up taking it to go, but we had a long drive home where we talked about the whole thing. And I was able to express to him all of the problems that I had and how you can't talk to someone like that, especially in a food service, because this is the person who's going to take that last glimpse of your food before it gets to your table. So if they did want to spit in it, or if they did want to give you the wrong thing, they have all of the power in the world to make that happen for you. So you don't
That's
want to
right.
make their life more difficult, because then they will always make your
Pay
life
you
more
back, man.
difficult. That's exactly right.
Payback
Yeah.
is a bitch.
So that is my parents in a nutshell. I don't want to, I love them both. If you guys are listening to this, you guys are the light of my world. I don't mean to belittle anything you've done to make this person that you have made by any means.
Listen,
I just
we
think
could
sometimes you guys are funny.
I'm barking to balance. I'm barking for balance. We could talk about parent stories, and I'm going to share some stuff with about my parents at some point too. Don't you worry. We'll have some fun with that.
That's
So
exact.
that was
I
good.
can't
That was
wait. I can't
good.
wait. You got to listen. And if you do want to listen to those things, if you do want to listen to Pat's parents and all the funny things that make them the people that they are, have you liked? Have you subscribed to the podcast yet? Have you turned on those notification bells? If you haven't, okay, why don't you do yourself a favor and go ahead and do that? You're waiting too long if you've made it this far and you haven't already. Okay, so please, Pac-Man to the rescue. He is Pat Bodida, and we are barking for balance, I guess.
That's right. We guess we are barking for balance. And
What
this
am
is
I
Pat the
saying?
Pac-Man. And we are on Amazon. We are on Google Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. And we're on YouTube as well. So pick
What
one of
are
those
we on?
platforms. Pick all those platforms, man.
What are we on? What are
Shit.
we? You have no excuses. Okay, if
Nope.
you're a Spotify person, you got it. If you're an Amazon person, you got it. Even if you like YouTube and you don't like any of those other services, you got it. We got it all. You got no excuses not to listen to us and to subscribe to us.
The best podcast relating to anything, but especially dogs. You want to learn how to have a good relationship with your dog. This is the platform.
Look no
Barking for
further.
balance.
Look no further. This is barking for balance. We talk all things. We talk people. We talk dogs primarily, but we talk all things. All things
That's right.
people and all things dogs, and then anything else in between. We talk about
That's
our
right.
parents.
And
We talk
why
about
is that,
sauce or
Jordan? What do we
bravery.
do at Pac-Man to the rescue?
Oh my God. I've been waiting for this moment for weeks now. I've been talking to people. I've been talking about coming on this podcast for weeks now, and I've been waiting for this moment. Pat, can you please say it to me one more time? Say it.
We train people, not dogs.
We train the people and not the dogs. This is not a dog podcast. This is a podcast for people in which we are trying to train for the dogs.
And we can inspire you. We can support you. We can give you all the tools so you have a good relationship with your dog. So your dog is happy, fulfilled, and well behaved, and everybody's happy. Not
Yes.
just your dog,
Nope.
but you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention, listen, we got Jordan on here now. This is so exciting. Jordan Kern is on Barking for Balance finally. Jordan, listen, this was cool. We had a lot of fun. We're going to have more fun. And I'm excited for the next one.
Pat, the Pac-Man, Pac-Man, if you would. I can't thank you enough. This was such an awesome experience to come on this podcast and talk to all of your lovely fans and even to be speaking to your very lovely face. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me the opportunity to come on and enlighten you guys with a little bit of things that I have to say. And I definitely look forward to coming back on in the near future.
And guys, if you have any questions for Jordan, any questions about dogs, if you want to know something, want to talk about something, make sure you write us up and hit us up. Subscribe on our, like us on, follow us on our Instagram page and on our Facebook page as well. And don't forget, Jordan, what's your page? Remind them.
You can find me at I'm Your Daddy too. If you heard it before, I don't want to go through it again on Instagram. And that's all I'm gonna plug right now. Other than that, I'm just Jordan Kern. I'm just 23, and I'm just having a good time.
There you
I'm
go.
having the time of my life here on Barking for Balance with my lovely friend Pat, and I'm totally looking forward to the future.
My man, Jordan. Guys, thank you for joining this episode of Barking for Balance from Jordan, my man, and from the Pat the Pac Man. We'll catch you guys next time.